Many Michiganders don't trust our election system and they do not believe it's fair. What's it going to be like for you next year?
That's among the several questions put to Governor Gretchen Whitmer in a wide-ranging interview with TV5. During our 6 o'clock newscast, we presented the first half of that interview, in which no subject was off limits. Tonight, the governor tells David her thoughts on the past year, and she has a whole lot to say about a key campaign promise.
Michigan's infrastructure, some will say, is in pretty bad shape. You campaigned on fixing the roads, fixing the damn roads. Have you fixed the roads?
We've made a lot of progress. So we have rebuilt 9,000 lane miles of Michigan roads. We just got a budget done that will rebuild 100 bridges through our bridge bundling program, which gives taxpayers a good bang for their buck and gets the job moving. So we're making progress. I am excited about this new infrastructure plan, though, because billions more are going to be coming to Michigan now, and that means we're going to be able to do even more, like fixing neighborhood roads.
We're doing this interview right now in Flint. Everybody knows about the Flint water crisis. We have another city in the state of Michigan who's now dealing with their own lead crisis. Will money be allocated to make sure that people have safe drinking water?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I lobbied really hard for, and that Congressman Dan Kildee did as well, was to make sure that there was funding in the infrastructure bill to replace old lead pipes that are bringing water into homes all across the state of Michigan and all across the country, frankly. Because of the man-made crisis in Flint, we have higher standards in Michigan, and we are rooting out where we have lead problems.
We also had a major crisis in our viewing area up in Midland and Gladwin County, the dam failures.
Yep.
You know, the Flint water crisis was man-made. There's a lot of blame for the dam failures as well.
Yeah, well, what we saw in Midland was a combination of a number of things, just like so many crises, right? Old infrastructure that hadn't been maintained, a 500-year flooding event, exacerbated by the fact that we're in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, it was a horrible situation that we had to respond to, and we've been rebuilding bridges. People who live, on the lakes that were drained because of the dam failures are still hurting. There's a lot more work to do when it comes to dams, bridges, roads, etc.
They're still rebuilding, and you go up there and it looks still like a disaster zone.
Well, we rebuilt some of the bridges in record time. MDOT, working with the local community and the Emergency Operations Center, really did some phenomenal work. It's hard to recognize that good because the story is so tough, and it's been so hard for so many homeowners, and we can't lose sight of that. But I do think it shows that we are capable of doing big things.
Many Michiganders don't trust our election system and they do not believe it's fair. What's it going to be like for you next year?
Well, I think one of the sad side effects of the last year in particular is that there's been so much effort to undermine our election system. This was a fair election, and efforts to undermine it are real threats to our democracy and our ability to decide who represents us and who leads us. So I think it's important that people on both sides of the aisle talk about that.
Was 2021 a good year for your administration?
I think 2021 was a really tough year for everyone, to be honest. 2020 was as well. We're all exhausted. We are all tired of dealing with a pandemic and tired with life being different and uncomfortable and so toxic. We're making progress, and there's a lot of good happening. Not everyone's feeling it yet, but I want to grit my teeth and keep doing the work because the people of the state are more important than any of the politics and any of the toxicity, and that's what's going to keep me focused as we go into 2022.
And if you'd like to watch either interview, you can do so by going to WNEM.com.